Hi, I'm Minca Borg with Susan Wasko, and we're very excited to talk about community outreach and community engagement strategies and just the value of bringing people together and having fun and doing things for a good cause.
That's correct. You bet.
And you were just telling me some really fun examples of some different events that you've been part of and helped to coordinate. And we understand that it would be helpful to share some ideas that could work for nonprofits or community groups who are trying to do maybe fundraisers or have volunteer days.
Sure.
Yeah.
My husband and I have an advantage. We do have a hardware store in Keosauqua, so we can, I've used that in order to help the community too. Of course, the community's been very good to us and we always want to give back. But what we've done in the past, the first Saturday in May is always our Customer Appreciation Day. And a lot of times I will serve food and have a donation bucket out, and people can put a donation in for the food, and then that money goes to Little League or the fire department, or, we pick somebody each time. That's always a big hit. It's just kind of, people like to be able to do that, and they can come in, grab something to eat, donate, and, go on with their Saturday. We've also done, on Christmas open house, we've had contractors come in, and they've built I got gingerbread kits.
That's so fun. That is so much fun. Professional gingerbread construction.
Oh boy, yeah, a lot of frosting. And each contractor had a table, and they brought their families, and they built their gingerbread homes. They had maybe an hour to do it, and then we had little donation buckets on each table. And I think it was probably for a week. People could come in, and by the money they put in each donation bucket is who the winner was of the building the house. And of course that money then we donated to either the food, any place that needed it, or
right.
nonprofits. So it's just fun. There's so many different ways to help people.
Right. And I think a big part too is meeting people where they are and where there's already some support. It's really interesting, if people have something that's sort of on their route or part of their routine, then that's a wonderful way, is instead of sort of shouting out like into the ether on the internet or something of, we're here, it's like if you can be where they are, especially for a local cause, and it's, I do social media marketing, so there are ways to connect with people online, but the thing is it always has to come back to the actual human relationships.
That's correct.
However you meet people, whether it's online or offline. And so it sounds like your store is a very popular place, and it's also not just, you were telling me earlier about how people will come in just to say hi to your cats.
Yeah, we have 2 store cats, Colby and Cheddar. They're sisters, and they do. People love our cats. Actually, they turned 11 on April 1st, and when they turned 10 last year, we had a big birthday cake for them, and everybody would come in and have a piece of cake. So the cats, the most clicks I get on Facebook is when I have the cats on Facebook. And they're
fantastic.
Sweethearts. Yeah.
Yeah. And it also points to you've created a community space. And I know we have small businesses in Fairfield also, like Noble House Kava comes to mind immediately, of just, it's a real community space. And people will be there just to connect with each other. And then you have all of these conversations and these connections, and all of these things organically come out of that, or like the collabs the same way.
That's great.
And what are some ways that you, you were mentioning you leave business cards at the campground, but what are some creative ways that you would suggest people can go out and sort of meet people where they are already and really be of service that way?
I would think, well, the business cards at the campgrounds and at throughout the county is neat. And then they, come in and they get a little free gift if they bring the business card in. Other ways, there's just so many things that are happening in Keosauqua, in southeast Iowa, that people can go out and be able to meet other people. If it's a concert or up in the Fairfield Square or down in Keosauqua, there's just so many ways that people can go out and meet new people and just help each other out. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, and I think that's something that I get culture shock when I visit urban areas, actually, because I've worked at farmers markets a long time, and it is completely normal for me to say good morning to literally every person who walks by. And but we have those impromptu catching up with friends at the grocery aisle, or it's that word of mouth. And
that's correct. You're so right. I was just thinking a couple of years ago, and we need to start this up again. Post-COVID, pre-COVID, we had a ladies' night out. It was huge, but it was the ladies of the community getting together, and the store was packed. It was, say, 6 to 8 o'clock in the evening, and there was projects to do, and there was food and wine. But just to see everybody talking and being with their friends, and it was cold out. It was like, I believe it was in November, the last one we had, and it was just a sense of community. It was just a place to gather. It was just really neat, really neat.
And it's amazing, sort of like it's sort of like as we connect to each other, there's all these possibilities that happen, because it can get really overwhelming or be a burnout to try to do anything in isolation. And then when it's fun and there's community, and then it's sort of the many hands make light work thing, right?
So true, so true. For another thing I was thinking about, we had someone contact me through Facebook Messenger that they knew that I had been part of the Keosauqua Food Bank, and they said their neighbor in a town in Van Buren County needed a winter coat, and would I know of any place to get him a winter coat? I believe it was in November, and so all I did is I put a little paragraph under Wasko Hardware and said, I need this size coat, men's coat. Can anybody help? That afternoon, I bet I had 10 phone calls.
Wow.
And by that next morning, somebody had purchased a brand new coat and was going to have it shipped to the store.
Wow.
So then I got thinking, what do other people do, and what can we do? Because nobody should go cold. Nobody should go hungry, and nobody should go cold. That's just what, that's how I grew up, and so we started a coat drive. So I put on Facebook, and social media is a wonderful thing. Put out on for most things.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I put out on Facebook, hey, you have some winter coats hanging around? Bring them down, put them in our store, and if anybody needs a coat, come in, no questions asked.
Wow.
You come in, you grab your coat, and you leave. We don't care. And then I thought, what if somebody works during the day or doesn't feel comfortable coming in? So I would set the coats outside on a rack in the evenings and on weekends. So anybody can go get a coat, from kids to, adults.
That's
so,
wonderful.
And that just took one person to ask. And then the community just came together. It was just really neat. And we do that every year now.
That's awesome. And it does remind me of it's sort of like listening. It's like if there's that something that's sort of like this community need. We had that with mental health a few years ago in our community, but there was just this groundswell of support. We had a suicide awareness and prevention event at the public library, and it was standing room only. People were like out the meeting room door and the lobby area.
Wow.
Because it was something that was very needed and healing and preventative. And so, but there is something about just having your ears open for what are it's funny, in marketing they're called pain points, but
oh, really?
but
Okay.
I think that's that's legitimate
It
for
is.
community
Makes
well-being. It being cold, hungry, being isolated or depressed, or it's like how do we look out for our neighbors and take care of each other.
Exactly. And that's, we have opened up, I have a kitchen and bath showroom at the store too. And it didn't really get as cold this winter, but last winter there was some below 0 days. And it was cold there for, a few days. And I told my husband, I said, I'm gonna put something on Facebook. If they're cold, they need to come in. They can come warm up in our store. We'll put tables out. They can play cards. I'll make a pot of coffee. So you know what happened? I had a lady contact me and said, I'll make a roaster full of chicken soup or chicken noodle soup.
Wow.
And it's like, so the next day she brought in this a huge roaster of chicken noodle soup. It's just community taking care of community people. It's just great.
Yeah,
That's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's what I think.
And that willingness to ask and respond and, just move with the ebbs and flows of...
It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
So...
Yep.
What else can we share?
Well, let's see.
What else can we? I guess we haven't. We've used some examples of how it can be helpful to put things out on social media, right? But it's always, but it's always a re-invitation to reconnect in the real world. Or to, of course, there's many nonprofits that do advocacy and education work, and so for them it's you can do virtual events or fundraisers, but there's something about I always recommend to think about how someone's going to feel when they see a post, and to bring joy and to I don't know, just to be something to look forward to. I think that's a really big thing, is be something to look forward to in someone else's day.
That's right.
When you're posting on social media, or you bump into somebody, or it's just something that keeps the momentum going, because it always comes back to the relationships. And I know with fundraising, it can be really tough to feel like or at least for me, it can be tough to feel like you're asking for something. It's easier in a way if it's for someone else, but it's, but then on the other side of it, it's like, it can be really fun to bake something for a bake sale, right? Or it can be, if you have different ways to plug in, maybe some people don't have time, but they can donate. Maybe other people don't have money, but they can, pitch in and volunteer.
Or donate their time.
Yeah, but it's just sort of creating that sense of belonging, and everyone's welcome. Everyone has something valuable to give.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what community is all about. It's just being able to do that. A few years ago, my daughter, who was a nursing student at that time, she was going on a mission trip to Belize, and she had to have, so much money and be able to do this. So she decided to have a bake sale at the store, and she put it out on Facebook. And not only did she have people come and buy everything she baked, she had people bake for her bake sale.
Wow.
They just showed up and said, here, this is for your bake sale.
That's so sweet.
It's so sweet. So, there again, that sense of community, they wanted to help her because she was helping the people of Belize or, who.
Right.
So it was just great. Just great. So
That's fantastic.
yes.
Well, we're both around. We both are people, and we love talking. So now, if you're meeting us for the first time on YouTube, you can find us. I am usually at the Fairfield Co-Lab, and
I'm usually at Wasko Hardware.
so we'd love to connect, and we hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week.
That's right. Thank you.